Hey guys, how's it going? It's showing off my lip. Look at that. I ended up actually also see this teeth here. I ended up shoving my teeth up into my jaw, and what ended up happening is when I impacted, I hit this part here first, and for some reason, or I went this way because I might have actually cracked my skull back here with my jaw and a little bit up in here. And of course, with gas pressure buildup from what these people have been injecting me with, and I still haven't been gotten any help, like zero help from the government. These people are funny. Um, they're saying, you need to do this, you need to kill people, you need to do that, and they've Baker acted me for defending my family, or trying to keep my neighbors away from my family. And the FBI is talking about oversharing. Now, let me go ahead and give your 411 when you're bugged. Right, let me reiterate this shit one more time about September 11th so you can get it crystal fucking clear as to what the fuck's going on. Because this only happens once in your life. All right. I was bugged by January 11th, 2001 from an undetermined time when it was inserted. The only indication that I had that there was something going on is I could hear popping inside my head, which is actually either a cold in my head or physical peroxidase generation from heavy metal in my head. Now, the potential of being bugged and then having a fluid injected into my head as an antenna is not as insane as it sounds. Now, these particular individuals, I didn't know who the hell was screaming at me and torturing my ass and doing all this shit. But man, they really hit me hard. I figured out later on that they're trying to electroplate with neural electrical activity. And Levanchi wanted to say that I was in pain, that they wanted me to be in pain. So what she was referring to at that time was during the electroplation process, actually inflict pain and lock that particular neural electrical conduit in order to generate a series of a loop of pain within a human being. That was Levanchi's thing. Now, the interesting aspect is these people bugged me. And then they had a fucking powwow. I contacted the FBI at starfire1111 at hotmail.com and said that there was something going on. At that time, I was an employee at Terra Associates. Now, once these people had this powwow in my fucking head, they went ahead and collaborated the September 11th attacks and blew up the World Trade Center. The moment that took place, I realized that I was kidnapped by the worst fucking people that could possibly exist. My family was dead. But at the moment that terror went down, I knew my family was dead. I knew that I was being held hostage by the worst people imaginable. I am bugged by terrorists. This means that there's no such thing as oversharing. This means there's no such thing as, saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing. Somebody in this situation needs to go out and just start shooting people. And not only that, but this type of technology and this deployment of it is obviously supported by Florida Hospital, is obviously supported by the United States military in order to conduct attacks like the World Trade Center, because they would never ever in 3 billion years leave a piece of technology implanted by a terrorist used for a terrorist attack inside a human being if they didn't support it at all. I was blacked out. My brother was laughing at me one of the times, like in 2005. So this was 2005 or 2006 where I blacked out. And my brother was laughing at me when I came to, and I started screaming as my body actually woke up, as my brain woke up from whatever the fuck it is that happened to me. And my parents here are trying to deprive me of simple things for me to do drugs. These aren't my parents. All right? My family does not condone They do not approve of drug use at all within this house. And never did. Any change from the sort, that's not my fucking family. In regards to this horseshit with Escobar, well, we have no criminal record, and that cops have been selling people and leaving this fucking bug inside me that was used for the World Trade Center attacks, which means they also support this kind of implantation technology to generate World Trade Center attacks. You know, the danger was absolute from the beginning, and the neighbors are like, "Well, you can join us." These people use each other as bombs. What does that mean? They use somebody as, well, they went ahead and they hijacked a few planes and then went ahead and slammed it with them in it. And they sit there later on, they were talking about these particular terrorist groups when they were going public on the internet or on the TV or whatnot, saying that, that the glory of dying and fucking don't cry for them. You don't join that shit. You're dead. I mean, you're bugged and you're dead and your family's dead. Or you just work around, and I'm talking really seriously, work around the subject matter where you can legally kill the motherfuckers. You don't sit there and drive around, kill. These people are armed, man. You don't sit there and succeed at bugging somebody like this or bugging a shitload of people without having weapons. What are you, some kind of fucking idiots? You're morons! One of the easiest ways to piss somebody off who has a big old fucking balls to bug you and try to say, this is our secret, is you make the shit public. The fucker shows up at your door. Really pissed off, really stoned, really angry with a really, really ruptured ego. And kind of suicidal and insane. They showed up at my door. You know what I mean? This is a huge ego trip for these guys when they do this. It really is. For these, and by the way, if you're hearing a male, it's both male, female, and kid. Or if you're hearing a kid, it's adults and a mixture. It's just a voice changer. They like to be able to control and manipulate people and fuck with your head and say stuff like, well, I've got you. This is a secret. Because especially you have like American doctors here in Orlando. Because I'm sorry to say, but I don't feel like I'm part of this country. They sit there, do you hear voices? And what you're hearing is actual fucking layered. It's like static that's been reorganized into screaming. The different frequency spectrum of static turn into screaming. That's what it sounds like. So it's really messed up. And so you have that going on. These guys are like, oh, I've got you now. They try to manipulate you. You're bugged by a terrorist who sits there and publishes all your shit in order to go ahead and kill people with your shit. You're dead. Don't keep any secrets in regards to these people, their activities. Make all of their shit public. Piss them off. Don't sit there and put it in entertainment too, because they're actually starting to broadcast all the shit of their hostages and trying to make money in it as an entertainment venue. And they're using like these freaking anonymous feeds and doing some wild shit. And the cops are kind of joining in, which means they're trying to legalize it. I think I'm slowly gaining the authorization to waste these motherfuckers after 18 years. It's about fucking time. Really do need to make it normal. Like this injury that I have to my lip. Something that you go to the hospital for and they stitch you up for, right? And it's not like, shh, make it quiet, because it actually empowers these motherfuckers immensely. You're bugged by one of the, well, the moment you have a bug in you, trust me, these are the deadliest motherfuckers that you can possibly imagine. And yeah, they're cops and then this and that. Don't keep it secret. Just publish all the shit they say and do. Offset it a little bit. Don't do it directly. Do not confirm the DX directly at the time. Offset the time frames in order to protect your head so you can at least retain some sanity. But publish it. Fuck with them. And fuck them up. Even if they're talking about shit that you're doing, publish what they're saying. Later on. Offset. Just a time frame offset. Yeah, I mean, my doctors here, like Dr. George Perez and like freaking doctors here at that said that they were the CIA, but they're not, and the doctors at the VA, all these motherfuckers support the intracranial implant for bugging and for World Trade Center attacks. And the cops, every single last cop in every single, like, Florida hospital psychiatric ward, as well as Florida State Hospital, as well as Lakeside Alternatives, all these motherfuckers, including the United States military, from ROTC, Illinois to motherfucking Pensacola base. Most of these people are just, they're supporting this implantation 100%. And they are literally feeding these terrorists and giving them all the food they want. And they're like, I'm sitting there looking at these pictures of Pablo Escobar and his family members, and I'm realizing this motherfucker's been DNA therapying my family, which is probably why my freaking nose shrunk, because my nose shrunk a lot. Like, I'm talking like 4 millimeters total all the way around on my nose. And my ears, like 4 or 5 millimeters off of my ears as well. I mean, they literally shrunk. Yeah, I've had, I started having white hairs when I was 15 years old, 15, which probably means that was around the first time they gave me the freaking copper therapy in my skull, because peroxidase is actually a depigmentation factor. So it causes that shit. The government's all been, supporting that crap. So they've been sitting there plotting and planning your horseshit, since this year. When I was 15, it was like 1989, 1990, something like that. So yeah, that's a pretty long time. If they've been doing that shit, anybody who went out to the Gulf War probably did not come back as themselves, or did not come back at all. Somebody went and put their fucking heads on their body, like Jeffrey Dahmer style, and put their skin their asses, and they all came back as somebody else and started killing people. I mean, I don't know, if I was a military strategist and I had that technology in hand, I would have done it. Beyond that, let's see, what else do I need to say to you? The White House is completely insane. These people were telling me to watch TV when I was trying to confirm that what I was seeing on Twitter and on Facebook was actually what they were posting. They avoided it completely, which means they're insane. They're just killing Americans, and they're probably not giving much of a shit about anything. One of the first things whenever I initially contacted the FBI is any information I provide to you isn't intended for informational purposes only. All suggestions in regards to an actual target being depicted here needs to be investigated first. That it needed, all these people, that anybody that I and even suspected into this shit needed to be investigated first prior to doing anything stupid. Well, as it turns out, the entire fucking Escobar family, as well as the Bin Laden family and the middle, because, Giovanni fucking Ribisi here, this is like a freaking short, skinny ass version of Pablo Escobar going on there, It's the same shit. And he's got like these kids here that have like nice wavy hair. None of these motherfuckers in that house have wavy hair. Well, actually, they have one guy that goes in and out, but the face isn't right. But they do look like the Escobar family. And no offense to any of the family members that actually avoid the drugs and just stay away from the rest of your family members because they've gone completely nuts. They're crazy. They're just crazy. Anyway, that would be that. Stay away from the cocaine, because these are a mix between Al-Qaeda, the Ku Klux Klan, and Escobar, and cops. Lots of cops that are actually, some of them are guerrilla African terrorists. So this is just the worst kind of homicidal maniacs that you can possibly fathom, just created in a nice swimming pool of shit, armed to the teeth and enlarging their numbers. Do not, under any circumstances, do the cocaine. Do not, under any circumstances, do the cocaine. I was taking a look at Pablo Escobar, and I was realizing that he's got the wavy hair and he kind of looked like a David Kennedy. And I took a closer look and I realized he had already. Some of the pictures were completely different. And I noticed that in some of the images during the 80s, he's got a pointy nose, which is. He probably had genetic similarities to David Kennedy, which is probably why David Kennedy was killed, because he does have similar features like the wavy hair and whatnot. But probably didn't kill him. They probably stuck him somewhere and just used his blood. Now, in regards to there are some stories that I've told in the past about the Cubans draining people of blood in order to shoot them. If they were using it for DNA therapy, during that time, I didn't know about it. This was like during the 40s and the 50s that they were doing this shit. All they do is, in order to not make a mess, is that they would drain the blood. Once again, let me reiterate that because I've said in the past, so there's no confusion in regards to this information that I'm providing. They would drain the blood out of these people, save it for their soldiers, for transfusions or whatnot, as well as to not make a mess, and then shoot them in public, be a public execution. Drain them as much as they could, just leave them with just enough to be standing there. And that would be it. If somebody went and crammed somebody else's DNA, would you be so kind, DNA into me? Would you please be so kind as to provide me some antibiotics? Because I don't want to have anything to do with these motherfucking people at all. I would rather just shoot them. Thanks. Bye-bye.